Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott, episode 105 for May 1st, 2009. Paul's Itties. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Audible.com. For your free audiobook, visit audible.com/Windows. And by GoToMeeting, the affordable way to meet with clients and colleagues. For your 30-day trial free, visit gotomeeting.com/Windows Weekly. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show that covers all things Microsoft. And here he is, Mr. Microsoft. Wait a minute, that's not good. He's a softie, but he's not small. Mr. Paul Thurrott.
Jeez.
Hi, Paul.
Wow.
Paul's back from the dentist, and boy, is his smile sparkly today.
Yep.
Minty, too. Did you get the orange,
the
licorice, the mint? Which one did you?
My teeth feel sharp.
I know.
They dig around in the back there to get the tartar out.
And now it's sharp.
It hurts my tongue just to touch it.
They're sharp teeth. Let me ask you, though, which dentifrice flavor did you choose? For the tooth polish? Do they give you a choice at your dentist?
No, I got the gritty, awful.
Yeah, they don't say, do you want mint, orange, grape? They don't do that?
You know what they did? And I have to say,
dentist.
I laugh out loud every time I go now because they have these lights on the ceiling, and they've covered them with a cloud pattern.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're at the beach. You know, you look
Isn't
up
that
and
nice?
you see clouds,
So
and I just
peaceful.
laugh every time I see it. Yeah.
I think
it's like the Windows XP desktop.
They read that in Dentifrice Today. You know?
Yeah, make people 10% less nervous.
Yeah. How do you keep them from leaping out of the chair?
Yeah.
My dentist has a map of the world on his ceiling.
Nice. Is it accurate?
No, it's so funny. It's got USSR on it.
Nice.
So it's really funny to look at,
in keeping with his use of 1970s dentistry.
Belgian Congo.
Techniques.
I always stare at the Belgian Congo when I'm getting my teeth done.
Someday I shall travel there.
To seek the source of the Nile. Dr. Thurrott, I presume. So, sir, this is a very auspicious occasion.
I agree.
You no longer have to go to the BitTorrents to get your update on Windows 7.
Although you still can if you want. I mean, let's be clear. It's still an option.
Are there newer versions still on the BitTorrents, newer than the official 7100?
No, as of now, 7100 is the most recent version. Yeah.
And it's on MSDN and TechNet, although I understand that it was a bit of a jam to get it yesterday.
Yeah, and what a shocker, right?
What people, it always happens. People want to download.
Oh my God, it's out, out. And then everyone goes and they're like, how come I can't download this thing? What's going on?
What?
Yeah.
So you got yours?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got it last week. But
I
couldn't talk about it last week. It was a little bit of a sticky wicket.
Yes.
As we say,
Yes, you had a conundrum.
It's tough.
So, it's nothing new for you though, because you've been downloading new versions for a long time, right?
No, but given this, do you see? I don't see this now because I'm looking at you on Skype,
right?
But you have a chat thing that's open.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
So we should see if there's any questions out about the RC, because the stuff we know so far is that May 5th will be the public release. So if anybody wants it, they can grab it from the public servers.
Right.
At that time, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest that maybe May 5th isn't the best day to try that, but it will be open through the end of June. So anyone who wants it, you can get product keys. The thing will work through I think it's June of next year or something like that. It expires, a year from now. So you could be running.
That's really good news. You don't have to. You could stick with it for a while. Right. Let me see. Anybody using the? Here's some questions. Mike says, "Do I need to get a new beta key for the release candidate?"
No, it will work with if you have a beta key, that will work with that as well.
Did they disable auto run in it? Remember that was an issue with Configure.
Yeah. They disabled auto run on non-optical disks. So if you have a USB device like a memory key or a USB hard drive, the what will pop up is a very minimal auto run. Well, it's not an auto run; it's an auto play dialog that allows you to open the device and see what's on it, and then you can run things manually that way.
So the upgrade, you're recommending a full install, not a upgrade on top of 7,000.
Yeah, and not to beat this to death, but yeah, what's come out is that there's a file in the installation set that tells the setup what version of the OS it will upgrade from, what it will allow. And on the client, on Windows 7, that version is build 77.7, right, which most people don't have, right? So the beta version is build 7,000. So Microsoft has created a document that explains how you can get Windows 7 to upgrade from the beta to the release candidate. And what it involves basically is copying all of the files out of the ISO or the DVD, the setup DVD, copying them to a hard drive, changing that file so that it reads 7,000, right? And then you can upgrade from the beta. Now, I have information about that in my blog, the full instructions and the link to the Microsoft post and so forth. But again, I really don't recommend it. And I know there were legitimate reasons to want to do that, but I just think that, if you're technical enough to run the beta and you've been using it all this time, you can probably handle backing up and reinstalling, and should, because the results will be much better. And I've already heard from people, by the way, who have upgraded from various builds of Windows 7 and have run into weird issues, including missing items in the start menu, weird behavior in Explorer. There's all kinds of little things that can happen. So for the best results, you're going to want to go with the clean install.
Anything new in this? I mean, you're in a kind of, I'm a better person to ask than you because you've been using updated versions all along. Do you remember?
Well, that actually
what 7,000 was like?
Yeah. No, in fact, over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of publishing of things. It was a very active period for me. And one of the things that I did was reinstall Build 7000 for the first time to compare and contrast. And it's really interesting because there are some things that really do stand out that are very different, like that auto play, auto run functionality, for example, is a clear difference. There's internet-based media sharing now, which is really exciting and works really well. That wasn't available in the beta. But it's from a really broad standpoint, they're not that different, actually. I mean, there are new wallpapers, and, in my review, I've published 3/4 of a review. And in that review, I detail some of those changes. But it's not dramatic, and it's really interesting because even back at the beta, Windows 7 was pretty mature. It was pretty much there. So I think we were at basically supposedly feature complete at the beta, but certainly at feature complete at this point. So there's just been some small things. One of the weird things that came up during the beta process that I think is worth calling out is that when you install something in Windows Vista or Windows XP, one of the things that probably 75% of applications do is they give you an option to install an icon for that application in the Quick Launch toolbar. Now, in Windows 7, there isn't a Quick Launch toolbar. So they silently allow these applications to install this icon to this shell location that never gets propagated anywhere. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, I guess the bad way to do it would be allow them to publish the icon up to the taskbar, and that would, of course, result in a messy taskbar. Or give the user an option, which would probably be kind of difficult. But the way that they decided to surface that was after you install something, very briefly it appears in the start menu in sort of an orange or pinkish highlight. So for the first few minutes after you've installed something, when you open the start menu, you'll see it listed right there. And you can, from that point, decide you want to pin it to the start menu so it's always there.
Vista did that. I mean...
No, this is brand new behavior. So, in other words,
didn't it say newly installed? It would show where the newly installed programs were.
Yes, but you'd have to dig into the start menu to see it.
It's right in the top level.
It literally is in what's known as the most recently used list. Yeah, so it really pushes it right up to the front.
That's as it should be, because presumably, since you just installed it, you'd like to have a chance to pin it and things like that.
Well, yeah, so it's kind of... Yes. In other words, the notion that you just installed something, so the system has to show you that you just installed something, doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, but that's not. Should make it easy to find.
It's to make it easy to find, so you can pin it, and then it's always there if that's what you want. If that's not what you want, it goes away.
Yeah. How long does it take to go away? One boot?
Yeah, I actually didn't. I don't see consistent behavior there. So for example, you install Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office installs several applications. It doesn't put all of them on the start menu. So, in my case, it put Excel up. I don't know if it's like a random thing.
There do seem to be little random things in Windows sometimes.
Yeah.
Where
they just keep
whatever.
So,
do you think there's like a bit that it sets and says, okay, this is the random bit? Pick one.
Yeah, check for the username of Paul Thurrott, and if yes,
randomize. We're just going to mess with them.
Yeah, I've always suspected that. Yeah.
It is feature complete now. I mean, actually, we said this on Beta 7000, but it really is now, right? I mean, this is it. No more.
Maybe. I mean,
what else were they going to do? They were going to change UAC, right? So that the default was at the highest level. Is that the case?
It is the case. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the notion was that UAC, the control panel, would not run as a higher privilege application, meaning you would have to actually go through UAC to change it, right? So in other words, you could make changes to the security tool without having to go through the security tool to do it, which was dumb. And Rafael Rivera, of course, was the person who discovered that. And that was the thing that Microsoft at first said, no, this works exactly the way we intended.
We meant it that way.
Yeah, and then, of course, it doesn't. You don't have to have an advanced degree to look at that and realize that's not the way it's supposed to work. So
right.
If
it's a flaw that even readers of USA Today can figure out,
there you go.
A problem.
Yeah. They actually had a little chart in the front page that said, do you think this is a good idea? And even they said no.
73% thought it was a good idea. 24% thought it was a bad idea. 2% said George Bush.
Said, I run a Mac.
Yeah, I'm a Mac. What's a PC? What's a computer? What else is going on with Windows 7 RC? Release candidate 1. Somebody's saying, any idea of pricing yet?
No, they haven't said anything yet.
Release date.
No, but given the high quality of this, right? Well, I should say I've had some indications on release date. I talked to the server guys this week because it's also a Windows Server release that corresponds to Windows 7. And they confirmed to me for the first time that Windows 7, like Windows Server 2008, will ship in calendar year 2009. So this is the first time that Microsoft has said 2009. Are you right there?
What?
Are you okay? You're like...
I'm squeaking my ball. It's okay.
Okay.
See, I don't know if you should be seeing me in these things now. I was just getting my cup of tea. Dane brought me my cup of tea.
All right. So anyway,
he brings in a little silver server, little creamer. Would you like, sir? Would you like a little sugar with your tea today?
I hope he asks you that every day, and even though he knows you don't.
Yeah, every day. Sir, will sir be having a lump of sugar today? No. Are you sure?
One day you should just say yes, and then he won't have it.
Fall over. I can't wait. I'm going to be doing this in 40 years. Dane will be 80 years old. Of
course, he'll be like Regis and Kathy Lee.
Exactly. Hello, Leo.
Whatever it's called these days.
How are you today? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Feature complete.
I think I interrupted myself on that one.
You did, actually. I was just sitting here, minding my own business, and you asked me a question. I said, what?
Well, see, again, people don't see you, but you're moving around.
I move around because I'm on a ball. You would move around if you were on a ball.
You're making me seasick.
Whoa.
All right, so I think we can all agree that 2009, probably one of the worst case kept secrets in Microsoft history. Obviously, they're going to ship this thing this year.
Yeah.
Now they're saying yes in time for the holidays. I think it will be even before that. I think it will be in time for the back-to-school season. So I still think,
Solus Suite is pointing me to a web page called Pocket Lint.
Right. Then those guys would know.
They said Acer confirms Windows 7 available October 23rd. It will be preloaded on their new Z5600 PC.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be before
Sooner
that. So that's
a
a PC bundle. I mean, so that's nice. So I'm glad they'll have something in time for the holidays. But I think they'll make it available at retail and electronically before that. That's a guess, obviously, but it's just based on the high quality of this thing and the understanding that, we sort of talked like, hey, they could ship this thing at the beta. The RC version is way better than the beta.
That's amazing because the beta was great. I haven't had a blue screen. I haven't had compatibility issues. I mean, the thing was rock solid. And I'm running it on 3 or 4 systems.
Yeah, it's really neat.
So frankly, since this is going to run for at least through March or June of 2010,
yep,
you don't have to worry so much about when it's going to be released. Just get the beta now. Now, did we have to register? Remember, the first beta was limited to they said for a few million people. Then they said through February 15th. Can anybody get RC1?
Yes. And they're not going to limit it in any way. It's not the first X number of people. It's basically you have from May 5th until the end of June. Anytime you want to go get it, you can get product keys.
Are they concerned? Would you be concerned that it might slow down purchasing? I mean, a lot of people, that's millions of people will probably have it for free.
I think the audience
won't have to buy it till June.
Is not that big, right? Yeah. I mean, and there are reasons to want to go legitimate as well.
It's not illegitimate. Don't say that.
No, to go with the final version, right? Okay. You're going to want to do that as well. Okay. I could picture Microsoft doing something like, hey, look, we're going to ship security updates to people who are still on the RC version, but we're not going to ship whatever other updates we may have. Might be, that kind of thing.
There's ways they could leverage.
Yeah, ways to coerce you to get to the
final version. Okay. I mean,
sorry.
I feel like it's great that they're doing such a widespread beta release, and it makes me feel good. And certainly, I'm going to buy any new machine I buy after the release will be a Windows 7 machine, and I'll have to buy a copy, I guess, for all the machines that are running Windows Vista or the beta right now. So they'll get me. They'll get me for sure, but just may not get me right away.
I'd love to see them do some sort of family licensing. By the way, please. I'm hoping that they do that. Beg them, please. With Vista, it didn't happen. I mean, they are aware of it, right? These guys aren't up in some ivory tower, unclear that this is what people want. But
they never do it. They've never done it before. But this is a somewhat different situation where you have, I think, a lot of people want to upgrade. Normally, isn't it the case?
Absolutely.
Nobody gets a new copy of Windows; they just get a new machine.
Yeah, but this time I think you're going to see lots of people upgrading, especially people in Vista. I mean, let's face it.
Or XP.
Compared to Vista, Vista machines, this will make Vista. This is like Vista, but twice as fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that I can see. And then if you're still running XP, I mean, I have to go back and look at XP every once in a while for various reasons. In the context of the book, I do it to compare the way things are to the way things used to be. I help people out with their computers. I just fixed a computer at the gym. You bring in this XP box and you look at this thing and you just want to. I mean, I hate it. I just hate it. And it is so lacking in functionality compared to Windows 7 that I think there's a big audience out there who would buy multiple copies if they could do it cheaply. But you know what? They do it with Office already. They already have a home and student version that allows you to install 3 copies of the thing for about $120. So that's the type of thing they need to do for Windows 7 as well.
A couple other questions from our chat room. How about the Media Center? Windows 7 Media Center. Are you going to do a review of that? What does Media Center look like in 7?
Yeah. I actually just, it's been a few weeks now, but I wrote a chapter in the upcoming book about Media Center and the changes that occurred in Windows 7. One of the things that hasn't happened there is way back in the context of the first version of Windows Vista, the original version, they half improved the user interface, right? So in other words, the stuff that's right up front was dramatically changed from the versions that shipped with Windows XP. And my assumption at the time was that a release coming a year from then called Fiji, which turned into something else, would sort of finish the job, that the entire interface would finally make its way over to this new version. So it's interesting and odd to me that in Windows 7, Media Center still has this kind of, I don't want to call it half-assed, but it's half-complete interface where a lot of it's brand new and looking good, and then you go into the setup stuff, especially the settings screens, and it looks like back in XP days, and it still does that, and I'm actually a little confused by that. But Media Center is also one of those areas where if you haven't really been paying attention, and I have to say I haven't really been paying attention, you would assume going into it that you look at it and you think, well, it hasn't really changed that much. But when you actually run this thing next to Windows Vista, it's like the difference between Vista and 7 themselves, where there are actually a million tiny changes. So I am going to do a feature-focused article on Media Center that will cover all that stuff. The one thing the reason I haven't done it yet is I'm still trying to nail down some of the low-level technical differences, because when you look at the versions of Media Center, versions of Windows 7 that support Media Center, Professional, Enterprise, and Ultimate, and Home Premium, there are some differences there as to what number of TV tuners they support and what types of TV tuners and, the numbers of each type and so forth. So I need to square that away. I would say within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have something up about that. There
is not going to be a Media Center version of Windows 7.
No, it's just
That's
included
long gone.
in.
Yeah.
And remember back months now, we talked about how, yes, there are multiple versions of the product, but there are really only 2 that are going to be very mainstream, Home Premium and Professional. And Media Center's in both of those. So Media Center in this version of Windows will actually go out on most PCs and with most copies of Windows now. So it's becoming much more of a mainstream solution in this version.
I'm excited. I really like Windows 7. I can't wait till they get it out the door. I think it's a great product, and I'm really glad to hear that it's even better. That Dvorak contended that they would bog it down. Remember?
Yeah.
We don't see any evidence of that, though, do we?
That was
I know
that's throwing a grenade in a room, snickering and closing the door.
No, I understand. I know, John. I've worked with John. I know, John. It's link bait, but it's a reasonable question. I mean, it could happen. So they didn't do that. That's good news.
No, they didn't do it. And in fact, if anything, they're doing the reverse. One of the things I've been hinting at over the past several weeks now is that is news of a secret feature for Windows 7, which Microsoft finally allowed us to reveal last week, and then they made their own announcement about it. And what they're doing is they're supplying an optional new feature of Windows 7 to people who buy the Professional, Enterprise, or Ultimate versions of the operating system called Windows XP Mode. And what it is a combination of a new version of Virtual PC, right, which is the old Connectix application-style virtualization solution.
Oh, that thing is a piece of...
No, it's actually okay, but it also is... It's combined with MedV, Microsoft Enterprise Desktop Virtualization, which is the thing we were talking about a few weeks ago. And what that allows you to do is run it's basically...
You were cagey. Oh, now I see how cagey you were, because you said, well, you have to get it separately.
Well, you do. MedV you have to get separately. But well, see, there are the differences between the two are this. MedV is aimed at enterprises, really big businesses that license huge numbers of copies of Windows and so forth. Managed environments where they roll out applications in a very specific fashion to users and so forth.
Right.
What Windows XP Mode is essentially an unmanaged version of MedV that anyone can run. You just run it on the PC.
Cool.
So it's not a virtual... Well, it is, actually. There is a virtual environment. If you wanted to, you could run Windows XP in this window, just like you do in Virtual PC or in any other virtualization solution like Fusion or whatever you might run, Parallels Desktop or VMware Workstation. Yes, you can do that. But the extra feature there is what you're really supposed to do is install the applications that won't run natively in Windows 7 in this environment, and then you shut the environment down. And those applications appear in your Start menu, and you run them side by side with Windows 7 apps. And it works.
That's cool.
It works perfectly.
So there's no box of Windows XP or anything. It's just they run, and they're running in a virtual...
They're in your Start menu. They're just in your Start menu. Yeah,
that is a good way to do it.
Really cool. Now, unfortunately...
do you feel a performance hit or anything, or a memory hit?
No, Microsoft recommends that people who are running this have 2 gigs of RAM is what they're recommending.
Yeah.
Actually, the virtual PC, the virtual machine is 256 megs of RAM. So it's not it's really not a lot of overhead. And, look, we're talking about applications here like IE6 and, regular applications. You could run Firefox, whatever. Windows Media Player, things like that. Those things work fine. You're not going to run games, right? You're not going to do that kind of stuff. And of course, a lot of people, they hear about this and they get excited because, the gaming experience on Vista wasn't what they were looking for. And they're thinking, oh, this is it.
No, this is not gaming. No.
This is aimed at line of business applications, custom apps that small businesses may have, productivity applications.
It's kind of ironic. You have to buy a higher level of Windows 7 so you can run a lower level of Windows XP.
But you see what this does, right? It sets Microsoft up for not having to support all that legacy technology in future versions of Windows.
Huge.
It is analogous to what Apple did with the classic environment in the first few versions of Mac OS X, because it is this virtual environment running side by side with the native environment. But to the end user, you don't really think of the environment. You don't think, okay, well, I have to run Excel 2000, so let me boot up Windows XP in this window and run the application. You don't think like that. You just think I have to run Excel.
Does it take a while to launch as you load up the additional resources?
Well, the very first time that you run it, if the machine is not running in the background, there's a little window that comes up and it loads it. It's 10 seconds.
So the virtual machine is not always running. It runs only when needed. Does it close when not needed?
Yeah, it goes into hibernation, yeah. And obviously, you would probably want to install some sort of antivirus solution in there, which actually is one of my tips or software picks or something.
Oh, because it's not protected by your Windows 7 antivirus.
They don't have that kind of deep integration there because the point here isn't they could do that. And by the way, it wouldn't surprise me in the future to see some sort of Hyper-V based solution that's far more technically advanced than this. The point of this really is just to get the applications running, right? In other words, there's some reason you're not upgrading to new versions of Windows, and it's almost always this one application that you have to have.
Right.
This gets you over that hump, and that's what it does. And it does that perfectly well. It works really well.
A lot of people want to know, well, do I have to buy Professional to do this or Ultimate, or can I, if I already have XP, can I download the virtual PC? In other words, can you duplicate that functionality?
Well, actually, I shouldn't say. I'm not sure.
You can get MedV.
Well, here's the deal. You could get you won't have to get MedV. Today, what we have is something called Microsoft Virtual PC 2007 with SP1.
Yep.
It's free, and it's the latest version.
Yep.
Part of XP mode is something called Windows Virtual PC. Windows Virtual PC is a feature of Windows. Now, the question about Windows Virtual PC is this. Will Windows Virtual PC run on lower-end versions of Windows, especially when I would say Windows 7 Home Premium? That I don't know off the top of my head. I'm going to guess and say no. I'm thinking that they want this to be a feature of Windows 7 Pro and up. I think that's how they're positioning this. But a little secret here, by the way, is that Windows Virtual PC, this optional and free component of Windows 7, doesn't just run Windows XP in this mode. You can also run Windows Vista or Windows 7 virtually in the same fashion and have those applications also publish automatically to the host environment. Now, I would say in the Windows 7 timeframe, that's not that exciting in the sense that if something runs on Windows Vista, it's going to run on Windows 7. So there's no huge advantage to doing that. Obviously, the advantage here is with Windows XP. But there is that capability. So Microsoft is calling this feature XP mode. Technically speaking, there's also a Vista mode and also a 7 mode, in that applications running in those virtual machines can also be published to the host. Now, Windows Virtual PC has the latest version of Virtual PC. You could also run, say, Linux in a window, but you would not be able to get those integration components. In other words, you wouldn't be able to run Linux applications side by side with Windows applications. That's not going to be possible in this product.
And you don't have to run anything that runs in Windows 7, even if it's a legacy program. You don't need to run the virtualization. This is just for stuff that won't run otherwise.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you have something that doesn't work, but it works in XP, Microsoft...
Will it do that automatically?
No, it's not automatic, and that's the thing. Again, this is not the complete seamless thing. I mean, in a seamless environment, the program compatibility assistant would come up and say, "Hey, this thing looks like it's not going to install properly in Windows 7. Would you like us to install it in Windows XP?" They don't have that, right?
Okay.
Now, you could see it going in that direction, I would say, going forward. But for right now, what you're getting is it's actually pretty decent. Think about it. You, as a benefit of buying Windows 7 Pro or Ultimate, you get a free copy of Windows XP in a virtual machine. It's pretty good. It at least gives it an option if you want it to, run those things in a virtual environment.
Right. I'm excited. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it solves. It's more cool for not. It's not. I don't think it's such a big deal for people who want to run XP only software, but it's a big deal for the rest of us because one hopes that means Microsoft could take out some legacy support. That's
what I'm thinking, right? So in other words, looking ahead to if you look ahead to Windows 8, aside from those integration pieces which you're alluding to, which I think they need to do, one of the benefits here is for the people that don't need that backwards compatibility, this is all stuff that doesn't have to be in the OS. It's not just technically less complicated, and it's not just a smaller, potentially faster system. It's also something that doesn't have to be patched as much because anytime you include all that stuff in the OS, that becomes the baseline for what needs to be patched.
Right.
So by taking out all that stuff, you can almost see, Windows 8, Windows 9, whatever, they just get rid of Win32 support.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole body of code you don't have to support.
Huge.
take it out of Windows.
Right.
And for those people that don't need it, well, there's a lot
just
less
to clarify, because some people are worried, is this virtualization going to be always running and not occupy resources? No. If you start it up, it'll stay in hibernation mode. But if you never start it up, it will never start, and it doesn't take up resources.
That's right.
Okay. And we should mention, have to have a Hyper-V processor, yes?
Yeah, you have to have an Intel or AMD microprocessor that supports hardware virtualization features.
Okay.
I forget the V Pro, I think it's called, on Intel, and
AMD has some other name. Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah,
poor AMD.
AMD as the also ran in this industry,
and AMD also. Yeah,
apparently has some feature.
I don't know.
No one's really clear.
We can't remember what the name is.
As the Opera of the microprocessor world.
Hey, happy birthday! Opera's 15.
Yes. I hear from their 7 fans every once in a while.
You're going to hear from all 7 of them now.
And man, they're not happy with me.
They don't like you, Paul.
I know.
They never have. They never will. They don't like most of us. Really, they don't like anybody who isn't an Opera fan.
Yeah.
Opera's a wonderful browser. I don't use it, but...
And I would even go so far as to acknowledge the fact that many of the innovations we take for granted appeared first in Opera. Absolutely. Right.
And by the way,
I read that in Firefox on the web somewhere, because that's the browser I actually use. So, not to be a jerk.
I use Opera on an Amiga, so don't write to me, okay?
Yikes. They probably have a version for the Amiga.
I got all the niche fans happy now. Hey, we're going to take a break, come back. There's more news. Office 2007 Service Pack 2. Windows Vista and Server 2008 Service Pack 2. And the pink Zune mobile. Is it in your future? We'll find out. But before we do that, I do want to talk about our friends at Citrix, the folks who do that great go-to meeting. Look, the average cost of a business trip, this is according to American Express, is $1,000. They know because, most people use the American Express card for their business expenses, so they really know that's including travel, hotel, food. It can add up. It's wasting time. It's wasting money. And nowadays, nobody wants to waste money. You want to save it all for your boss's bonus, right? Right. So with GoToMeeting, you can have all those business trips, but without ever leaving your desk. Just $49 a month, not $1,000 a trip. GoToMeeting. It's so easy to use, so easy to install. In fact, if you go right now to gotomeeting.com/Windows Weekly, you'll have it installed before I'm done speaking. gotomeeting.com/Windows Weekly. Now, why are you interested in this? Well, here's the deal. Once you've installed it, and again, just takes a couple of clicks of the mouse to install. You don't have to configure the router or anything. Now you could start a meeting on the fly or ahead of time. It integrates with Outlook, so you can automatically send meeting invitations to Outlook with a clickable link. People go there, and I'm not kidding. It's so easy. Within a second or two, all of a sudden they're using GoToMeeting, and they're seeing your desktop on their desktop. So they see your screen. You could show them the PowerPoint. You could show them the slides. You could collaborate on documents. You can train. Very engaging, very fun. Free voice over IP and free voice conferencing built in. It's an award-winning service, absolutely secure, and it's yours free for sales demonstrations, for product demos, for training sessions, for collaborating on documents. Use it for the next month. Show your boss, show your clients, your colleagues. Go to gotomeeting.com/Windows Weekly. Why spend $1,000 on a business trip you don't even want to take when you can get GoToMeeting for $49 a month? Try it free right now. gotomeeting.com/Windows Weekly. We thank them so much for their support of the Windows Weekly show. I am so excited because Service Pack 2 for Vista Server is here.
Vista Server.
Windows Vista and Server 2008 to be precise.
You're like one of those mechanical reading devices.
I don't understand what I'm reading. I have no context.
Windows Vista Server
is out. And what is that, one thing or two?
Kindle?
What is it? I don't know what I'm reading. What is it? Is there something called Windows Vista and Server 2008?
No, there is something called Service Pack 2 for Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008.
Oh, Service Pack 2 for Vista.
Yeah. In other words,
I didn't even know we were waiting for that.
We were waiting for that. So,
hallelujah, it's here.
Yeah, so if you look back to the original release of Windows Server 2008 last February, I think.
And who could forget that momentous occasion?
Thank you, sir. I agree with both of those assertions.
Yes. I party every February.
That code shipped with the Service Pack 1 bits built in.
Yes.
Right? So it came with SP1. Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008 are now on the same trajectory. So this Service Pack actually services both operating systems, brings them up to SP2 level. So it will be out sometime in May, is what they're saying. I'm guessing with Tech Ed happening in about a week and a half, probably at Tech Ed would be the obvious time to release it, but that's just a guess. And unlike SP1, this isn't a huge release, but some minor things. Windows Search 4.0 is in there, Blu-ray disc writing if you want that, some improvements to the exFAT file system and to Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff. So all the expected hotfix and security update aggregation is there. The general improvements to all of the Itties, like compatibility, reliability,
all the Itties,
performance ability, that kind of stuff. So
that's what I was like about Paul. He's really got big Itties.
That's right.
So let me ask you: is this going to be pushed out shortly after the announcement, or are they going to roll it out slowly? I
think they're going to roll it out slowly. There's a blocker tool. One thing that they have done, however, is Service Pack 2 requires SP1 be installed first. So with Service Pack 1 on the Vista side, there was a blocker tool for that release.
So if you blocked it, you got to unblock it.
You can't get SP2 until you get SP1. So actually, as of today, that blocker tool is gone. Yeah, you'll have to upgrade to that once you get into Windows Update.
Wait a minute, though. Okay, so if the blocker tool's gone, does that mean they're going to force you to run SP1 now?
It will force you to run SP1 before you'll see the SP2.
But will we now start seeing SP1 because the blocker tool is gone?
Yes, you will.
So now we have to say no every time if we don't want it? Oh, that's interesting.
You don't want to say no to SP1.
I know you don't want to say no. I know.
Why would anyone run the original version of this? I like Vista slow and bloated. Could I stay on the original?
Somebody didn't want it, or they wouldn't have a blocker tool for it.
Well, it's right. But for the businesses that don't want to roll out new versions of code because they have testing to do, Microsoft has advanced deployment tools like System Center and WSUS, Windows Server Update server, that also have their own blocking mechanism. So for those businesses that need to block things, that's still available. This is more of the general blocking that's available to the public. So that stuff's being removed. So if you, for some reason, a year ago decided you didn't want to see SP1 and you kind of pushed it to the side, you're going to start seeing it again.
That's okay. I don't mind. I can live with that. I wasn't blocking it anyway.
I think it's the right thing to do, and I don't even know why you brought it up.
Because there may be somebody out there who's been blocking it, and all of a sudden they can't block it anymore.
You, sir, are a danger to the internet.
I am. IE8 is being pushed out now. I noticed. I was installing XP on my mom's Mac so she can run.
I have to say, I'm surprised. Wizard. Yeah, I'm surprised they're being so aggressive with IE8. It seems like IE8 would be more of an optional deal, especially if you had IE7 already. Obviously the people on IE6,
yeah, that should be somebody should be forced to upgrade.
Those folks need some help, but it seems like IE8. I mean, it's fine. I mean,
it's not that big a difference from 7. In other words, that's what you're saying.
I don't think. Well, 7 was huge. You had to get 7.
You had to get. Yes.
This time around, yeah. I mean, it's better, but I don't. It's not. We're not in the same emergency situation, that we were with IE6. Right, so they're being very aggressive with that.
Is it not ready for prime time, you think?
No, it's fine. That has nothing to do with it. I just think that for the average consumer, they don't really think about this stuff. And I think to a lot of people, it's,
But it just comes. Well, again, like I'm updating XP. I put it on the, VMware Fusion on the Mac and updating. There were 31 updates from the Service Pack 2 version I had. And there it is, IE8, the last thing. I just did it. I think most people just say yes to it. Is there any?
Sure.
Will there be any consequences to saying yes? Unexpected surprises
to IE8?
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be some lingering compatibility issues. Sure.
It's faster than IE7.
I think so. And to be honest, I mean, the sites that I visit, I very rarely see any issues. I was actually on a Microsoft blog. I didn't get a chance to check this in other browsers, but I noticed that the header on the blog was all messed up.
You're kidding.
IE8.
Oh, no.
I'm going to look at that one later.
That's
but
pretty funny. Well, see, here's the thing. People who listen to this show, and you and I, we're Firefox users. So we'll use IE. I use IE all the time, but, it's kind of a second browser for me. I do use IE8 now, and we'll see how long that lasts. I mean, I have to use both for various reasons. Right. But I think, the technically literate, it's not a big deal. But most non-technically literate people will just say, oh, here it is. It's the new IE. I should install it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So nothing wrong
By the way,
that.
I would say to the Firefox users out there, and I'm sure that's maybe even the majority, right, people listening to this, you should still install IE8, right? I mean, it's always best to have the most secure version. This is part of Windows, especially if you're not running Windows 7. You don't have the option to get rid of it. It always makes sense to have the most up-to-date version anyway, because there's always going to be occasions, for whatever reason, you may need to run it for some reason.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Ollie. As long as we're talking about service packs, Office 2007, I noticed it's a fairly hefty download.
I'm sorry, hold on. There's music playing on my computer. What did you say?
Office 2007 Service Pack 2.
Yes. Also, now that one is actually available. You can download that right now.
And it's what? How many 100 megabytes?
It's pretty big.
248.
I want to say it's pretty big. But it is. Again, this is in many ways is also a big release, right? Because this is the one that has ODF.
Let's put it this way: it's 5 hours and 54 minutes at 56K.
Okay.
I feel so sorry for anybody.
Yeah.
Still on dial-up, because when us.
Sure.
Anybody who listens or watches this video or listens to podcasts probably is not on dial-up. It's like, oh yeah, it's a few minutes. 5 hours and 54 minutes sitting there, and you kind of have to do it. That's why IE8 pushing IE8 is 200. It's 290.2 megabytes.
This one downloads pretty quick though. Download pretty quick for me. I mean,
yeah, sure, it's instant.
What with it being 2009 and all, but this would have been a bummer of an update in 1998.
How many floppies is that?
Exactly.
And this is just an update,
right? Well, I will say in the installation, give the Office guys some credit, because this is a no muss, no fuss type of install. I mean, you run. I want to install this. Yes, it installs. It takes no time at all.
It's 207.2 floppies.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
That's at best case scenario. I mean, it'd
right,
probably be more
if it's perfectly packed.
Yeah, perfectly packed.
Here's your update, sir.
Yeah. You need like a two-wheeler just to get it out to the car. But it's a no-brainer. I mean,
No, you got to do it. I always do the updates. Is it security stuff, or is it just fixes, or?
It's all that stuff.
It says improvements in all the Itties, it said.
That's all the Itties. Yes,
all the Itties. Reliability, stability, security,
performanceability.
Yes, performanceability is also improvability.
And performability, I guess, would be the term.
All the Itties. Do you ever use Groove?
Not anymore. There was a time I did.
I guess Mesh has kind of replaced that, or...
Yeah, well, a couple of things have, right? We have a lot of different communication tools. That was part of it. And then there are just services.
Frankly, Google Docs has replaced it in some way.
Yeah, Live Mesh is one of them. The Messenger stuff obviously is there. And, there's all kinds of different things.
I was just looking through my 2007. I thought, I've never tried Groove. And I set it up, and I was going to make my employees use it. And I thought, no, I can't do that to them. Look, I'm going to share a document with you over Groove.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that Ozzy is sort of running the technical end at Microsoft, we'll all be running Groove in some fashion, right? I mean, it will be in everything.
It's the weirdest named. I thought Azure was a little strange, but Groove, that's the weirdest name ever. That's got to be Ray Ozzie.
That predates Microsoft, right? Doesn't Groove the name
it came from somebody else. Oh, okay.
Well, it came from the company. I think it was wasn't Groove? The company called Groove? I think the company was called Groove, wasn't it?
Or Groovy.
No.
Or Groovity.
Groovity.
The law of Groovity.
Groovability.
Groovability.
Which would be an excellent name for the podcast, by the way. But anyway,
I think it is. I think you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
So do this one though. I mean, this is another one, another upgrade. So let's see. There's 290 megabytes there. Service Pack 2 for Vista. I wonder how big. By the way,
one of the other Itties that Office 2007 Service Pack 2 have is interoperability. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some manageability in there. This one has got Itties all over.
Itties all over. You're going to love the Itties on this one.
Bursting with Itties. But it also supports, like I said, ODF, but also PDF. If you could make ODF your default document format if you want.
There's so many names I could use for this show. Really, at this point, my mind is reeling.
Bursting with Itties.
With the possibilities.
That's not one of the Itties, though.
That's not one of the Itties. That's not my Itty. So, Microsoft continues to deny the Pink Zune mobile rumors. Item 5, ladies and gentlemen.
Once again, you have accurately read.
Accurately read it, but inaccurately conveyed.
What do you call
meaning.
it when something is technically correct but absolutely worthless? Thank you for making that point, Mr. Laporte.
But you make no sense at all. So they denied the Pink Zune.
What appears to be a sentence. It has words in it and it's some kind of punctuation.
It means nothing. It does not mean what you think it means. So you're saying the Pink Zune and the Zune mobile rumors have been denied. How about Zune HD? What about that rumor, huh?
That rumor has not been denied, which I'm actually really interested in. But it doesn't really matter what they're denying because actually we know they're working on. They've got a project called Pink. This is a fact.
A Pink Zune.
And I've been told,
but it's not pink in color.
No, it's just a name.
Pink is the
Apple
code
had
name.
A project. It's a code name.
Okay.
Apple had a project called Pink as well.
That's
with
right.
IBM.
It was their long-awaited,
We're still
never
waiting for
released
that guy to come up.
operating
That's
system.
going to be great.
Yeah.
Pink and then Copeland, I think, was how it was going to work.
Copeland. That's right. Boy, you got a good memory.
Yeah. So anywho, so Project
Intelligent
and General Magic was involved.
Yes.
In all this stuff, all kinds of stuff.
Yes. Boy, you've got a heck of a memory. So what were you, 12 at the time?
No, this was mid 90s. So
was it that recently? Right.
Wasn't that?
Seems an age ago.
I would have been.
Pink Project Pink is not.
It is It's an internal project at Microsoft. Something around future versions of Windows Mobile combined with Zune technology.
Oh, so we know that, but they're denying it.
But what they're denying is, look, we're not what they're saying is we're not building a phone.
We're building the future.
Well, that doesn't mean they're not building the reference design for a phone. Remember these guys on Sidekick now, right? The guys that or Danger, the guys who made Sidekick. Sidekick was a phone.
By the way, Dr. Mom in our chat room says that the Sidekick now has a Microsoft search on it. So there is something going on there.
Sure. So
don't know what it is.
I think there's, I think it's pretty clear that they've stated explicitly that they're moving the Zune software to both the mobile space and to the living room, which I think everyone takes accurately as Windows Mobile and Xbox 360, respectively. Right. So we can expect that kind of stuff to happen. So I think
I like the new Sidekick that's coming out in a couple of weeks. It looks really cool. Do you think it will? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just wondering how much of Microsoft will be in there.
Yeah,
because it's really a kid's. I mean, it's a phone aimed at teenagers, despite Dr. Mom's use of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
When did they buy Danger?
3 years ago.
And
4 years ago.
Do you think it was at that time with an aim towards making?
No, I think this is all sort of coalesced. I mean, a lot of the things that are going on. Obviously, the iPhone, I think, was like a kick in the face in many ways,
and that was 2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago. So these things take time. This year, this coming week, next week, or the week after, they will announce that they finalized Windows Mobile 6.5. Which means we won't see phones based on that system for another 6 months, which is how things work over there.
And that's not Microsoft's fault. That's the phone.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Yes, to work, they work within the system that exists. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Obviously, stuff like the Zune HD, if that happens, will be happening this year. We know there's new Zune hardware coming this year, so that might explain why they didn't deny the Zune HD rumors. And then next year, there'll be a Windows Mobile 7 system that hopefully will be brand new and built from the ground up, and we'll have a lot of this stuff that we're sort of seeing rumors about now will be built in.
So do you think the lack of denial on the Zune HD means merely that was such a silly rumor Microsoft didn't even dignify it with a denial, or that it's true?
my opinion, and this is only opinion, is that it means one of two things. Either it's true, which I hope it is, because it looks fantastic.
It does. I would, you know what? That could revive the Zune for me.
Absolutely. One of the things I'd have to say that the iPod Touch specifically has a big advantage over the Zune is with movies, and TV shows. The screen is just really nice for that. The interface is better. I'd love to see a Zune HD come out. The second possibility, by the way, is that it wasn't true, but then they saw this prototype and said, maybe we should build one of those things. That looks really cool. And I hope they do it. I mean, I hope they come out with something.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be funny?
We shall
this
see.
Is a great rumor. Let's make it so.
And let's just make it look exactly like that picture. What the heck?
They gave us the design and everything.
And then whoever invented this thing will be like, what the hell?
Yeah, that guy did the Photoshop.
Do I sue them? I mean, what is it?
They stole my design, but I can't admit it, man.
Exactly.
Nah, they just have to take a victory lap. See, I told you. I told you they were going to do that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. Coming back, the tip of the week, 2 of them. You're really, you've been very, very generous of late with the tips of the week. And
there's so much stuff happening.
Yeah. So we've got XP mode tip of the week. I'm
screwing myself for the future. That's what's going to happen. Down the road, I'll have nothing.
That's what the record companies thought. If we give it away, what will we have?
Right. What will you have?
Nothing. We won't.
What do they have now, Leo? I can't remember.
Nothing.
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 Okay.
Nothing.
Well, there you go.
Also, 2 softwares of the week, and one of them is something they've been asking me about in the chat. You're so ahead of this. I've been ignoring their questions in chat so that we could talk about the cloud antivirus.
Okay.
But we won't do that yet because it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to say hello to Audible.com. Audible.com/Windows. You can get your first book free. Audible is, of course, our great bookstore where we find wonderful, wonderful audio books. Paul likes Paul's got a pretty eclectic taste. Sometimes some history. Sometimes some politics. Likes those thrillers, though, and you got one for us today.
Yeah, I'm reading on the Kindle. It's not available in audiobook, and thank God, because it would be 130 hours long. I'm reading a history of Germany at war. It's like the part 3 of this 3-part series.
When I was a kid, I read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one's actually brand new. It came out in February.
I might have to read this. I love this
working
stuff.
On this for the past decade or whatever. So,
is it all of Germany's wars or just World War I and II?
No. It's specifically about the Third Reich. So the first part is how they came to power. The second part was them at peace, in power, and then the third part, the one I'm reading, is about them at World War II.
Oh, I can't wait to read it.
It is the most thorough, most well-documented history of this particular event. It's incredible. It's got to be 1,200 pages long.
It just blows me away. And, of course, that was such recent history. It's 60 years ago. Many, many people live today who remember it as if it were yesterday. And it seems so alien and foreign just because it was such a horrific story.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's not my audible pick.
You can't get it. You can't get it on audio. But it's I consider this our book segment anyway. It's okay.
There you go.
Yeah. But what can you get on Audible?
You can get lots of things. Well, one of the other things that's been happening recently, and this will get into the Audible pick, is that
spring has occurred. Well, we got all the time in the world.
Okay. Good. All right, let's sit down and relax for a second, shall we?
Spring is here.
Spring has occurred, and in a huge way, which means actually we've had 90-degree days here, which is crazy this early in the year. It starts making you think about summer and all that. And the other thing we did was we upgraded our FiOS package, and now we have a faster download speed, faster upload. But we have all these HD channels we never had, but we have movie channels temporarily, for the next 60 days. I guess we have all the HBO, Cinemax, whatever. So I've been watching a lot of that. And what I've seen on there are those 2 Alex Cross movies that they made, Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. And I was reminded how the Kiss the Girls movie is actually pretty good. Along Came the Spider, I remembered as being very different from the book. So the pick I have this week is actually Along Came a Spider, because I looked into it, and sure enough, the book is actually quite different from the movie and is vastly superior. And those early Alex Cross books, I'd have to say, James Patterson obviously could be hit or miss, but I really like the Alex Cross books as a rule. And
I haven't read any of them. So is this a good one, you think?
I would start at the beginning. This one's, I think, is the second or third one, but Kiss the Girls, unfortunately, on Audible is abridged. So Along Came a Spider is unabridged. And also because it's so different from the movie, like if you were to see the movie Kiss the Girls, it's actually a decent representation of the story. The movie of Along Came a Spider is actually pretty different. So this is an instance where, the book is offers some additional value, I guess, over the movie.
Alex Cross is a homicide detective.
Right, in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. Although does this one take place in L.A.?
It's all over the place. It goes back and forth. Okay. It's about the kidnapping of a
Hollywood actress.
Yeah, and
the daughter of a Hollywood actress. Yeah.
Right, and the child of a senator, I believe.
I get it. I get the L.A. D.C. nexus.
Yeah, there's some L.A. D.C. stuff in some of the other books in that series too, actually. But anyway, it's a good one.
Audible's a great source of reading material because they have everything. They have the fiction, and I mix it up. I love to alternate between serious and pot boilers and page turners. And this I'm going to put this on my list. James Patterson. Along Came a Spider. They have abridged and unabridged. The unabridged is only 12 minutes. It's a quick story. You'll love it.
It's Jack and Jill done in 60 seconds.
They save on the what they save on the adjectives they make up in the adverbs. It's 12 hours and 21 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it absolutely sounds like a great one. Along Came a Spider. But the point is, you go to audible.com/windows, you could pick from one of 50,000 titles. You'll be signing up for the gold account, which gives you a book a month. For most people, that's plenty. I have a platinum account because I need more. But the first book is free. So, check it out right now. Along Came a Spider by James Patterson. We love Audible. We know you will, too. If you've got a commute, it's just going to save your life. Audible.com/windows.
So, Leo, I have to break in with a breaking news story.
This just in.
It's not that breaking, but
okay.
I mentioned that Service Pack 2 for Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008 would be available in May.
Yes.
And actually, it's on MSDN right now, apparently, according to an email I just received. So, Jorn Stovland tells me that it is available.
As it happens.
If that is the case, it should be available on TechNet as well.
Now, that means, though, that it's not available to the general public until later.
That's right. It probably still may, yeah.
I think I need a TechNet or MSDN subscription. What's the difference between TechNet and MSDN?
Well, MSDN is technically geared toward developers, and TechNet is geared toward IT pros.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, I happen to have an MSDN subscription. I'm not a developer, but the stuff that becomes available on there is available there because potentially people who want to develop on those platforms. But I found that the selection of software between the two is very similar.
Okay.
So
you pay a flat fee and you get everything as it comes out, and you get a little advance notice. You get a lot of technical information.
Oh, yeah. Actually, on both of them, the technical info is incredible.
I was a member of MSDN when they sent you CDs every month.
Oh, yeah. I still get DVDs.
Oh, they still do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because, it's like ridiculous.
Well,
I have all those MSDN notebooks.
So,
I've got like a 10-foot shelf of these things.
Yeah, I do too. And there was a time when you could choose between DVD and CD, and now I think it's all DVD. And
sure.
I mean, potentially, why would you even
download it all?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're on dial-up, as you pointed out.
If you're on dial-up.
Unless you're a time traveler.
I'm in 1998. This is the fastest I could get. Would you like some sugar with your tea, Paul? Our tip of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Number one. With a bullet. I need a little jingle. Number one. Tip of the week.
Number one. Well, we talked about XP mode and Windows Virtual PC, right? This optional new feature for Windows 7. And the way that works is if you're in that, you bring up the virtual machine because you want to install applications so that they will become available in Windows 7. And that works as you would expect. If you're familiar with any virtual machine solution, it works the same way in Windows Virtual PC. The difference, of course, is that when you install those applications, you can close that virtual machine, go into the Windows 7 Start menu, and those applications will appear in the Start menu, which is cool. But what about the built-in applications in Windows XP?
What about the built-in applications? I want to run I want to run the Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, whatever it might be.
Does Windows 7 come with Minesweeper?
It does.
All right.
It comes with the version that was in Windows Vista, which is actually quite attractive, by the way. It's a nice-looking app. Yeah.
3D Minesweeper.
Yeah,
You'll feel like you're there.
You'll feel like you're getting blown up. It's neat. But there's a trick that Raphael discovered, actually, to get built-in applications, or any applications, anything you want that's in XP that, for whatever reason, does not expose itself into the Windows 7 Start menu. There's a trick to making it work. And what you do is you open the All Users portion of the Start menu by right-clicking on the Start button in Windows XP and choosing Open All Users. When you do that, any shortcut that you drag into that folder structure will be published automatically to Windows 7 and pretty instantly. So, for example, IE6 as the obvious example. If you want that application running under Windows 7, you just drag the shortcut to it, to that part of the Start menu, and it will appear in Windows 7.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah. And, I suppose for some reason it's possible that you might install a third-party application, and for whatever reason it doesn't install its icon in Windows 7.
And you have to do the same thing. Right.
This is a way to make that happen.
So this is kind of a workaround, but it's a good thing to know.
Yeah. Yes, it isn't. Yeah, it is very much a workaround. That's right.
Well, thanks to Raphael for figuring all this stuff out. He's just a little hacker, that kid.
He is. He's dangerous. You got to keep him.
We already mentioned the Office Slipstream 2007 Slipstream. I'm sorry, SP2. You see, I just tipped your hand. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Once again, accurately reading what was written.
And then it said Slipstream Office 2007 SP2. So I have, let's say, Paul, I have an Office 2007 install disk.
I think I can see where this is going. We'll continue. Yes, sir.
And I'd really like to make sure that I'm installing the latest version going forward.
Yes.
How would I do that?
You would slipstream it, Leo.
What's
and let
that,
me tell you
Paul?
how to make that work. With Office 2007 and Windows Vista, the promise was that there would be an updates folder that would exist in the install folder structure, and that to install any updates, all you'd have to do is drag the files into that folder, burn the thing to disk, or just install right from the the directory structure, wherever it may be, on a network or on your hard drive, and then it would just work. It would install the updates for you. In Windows Vista, that does not work. They've been working on it. There was a problem. Well, maybe we'll get it fixed after Service Pack 1. I don't even know where they're at. I mean, maybe it works today. I've not seen that that's the case, but they've never gotten it to work. On the Office 2007 side, it's always worked. There's a folder on the updates thing with Service Pack 1 that came out previously, and now with Service Pack 2. All you have to do is download the installer, extract it, copy the files into the updates folder, and then you install from there, and you install everything all in one whack. And you can put this directory structure on a hard drive, USB key if it's big enough. You could burn it to disk; it doesn't matter.
So this is a lot easier than slipstreaming a Windows install. It's kind of the same idea, but you need Nlight to do the extra little doohickey.
Going forward, I expect this to be the style that Windows uses as well. Yeah,
it would be really great not to have to use a tool to do this, but just be able to build these disks yourself.
Absolutely. So now what I just said is probably not enough information for you to
have it all
do
there.
I have it all on my blog. So if you go to the Supersite blog, just search for Slipstream Office 2007, and you will find the post. It's very, very simple. It doesn't require any special tools. You just have to download the file, extract, like I said, copy it in, and you're done. They're very, very simple, and it works great.
And then Slipstream Firefox SP2 in Windows 7.
So now you're like GLaDOS and in Portal.
There is no cake. The cake is a lie. I have a GLaDOS voice on my TomTom.
Yeah.
And when you're supposed to make a right turn, it says, "You will turn left now. Cake is waiting."
Does it sing a song when you get to the...
It does. It lies to you. It lies. It's the worst voice for a GPS because you can't follow its instructions.
Right.
But it's so funny. I can't not use it. I love it.
I love that. That's great.
And it sounds like it. Some fan did it. It's not the actual GLaDOS.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful, though. I think that's good.
Yeah. All right, let's get some software here. And I didn't know about this, but people were asking about it in the chat room, and this is something new from Panda.
Yeah, so Panda is one of the companies that offers an antivirus program, and now what they're doing is offering a free version. They're calling it Cloud Antivirus. I'm not really. You can read the description of this thing to understand why they do that. I mean,
to me, is it online or?
Obviously you have to install it, right?
Well, then
you still have to install it. It's an antivirus package. But the reason this is interesting is It's extremely lightweight, extremely small, and obviously in an antivirus package, that's what you're looking for. Yep. So it's something to look at. I have, as a sort of an additional tip, this would be an excellent solution for any virtualized install of Windows, right? Because then more than ever, you want something lightweight because you're already you're sort of operating under this ponderous virtualized environment. So in XP mode, for example, on my main desktop, I put Panda Antivirus, Cloud Antivirus is the name of it, on that install of Windows XP. Why not? It's running in a virtual environment. You might as well have the lightest weight thing to look at. Now, the downside of this product is that, unfortunately, at least for now, it doesn't work on 64-bit versions of Windows.
Well, that's tough for any viruses in general because of kernel protection, I guess. So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, all the major vendors support it. SM932 works. AVG Free works on x64. So,
but is this this is free?
It's free. Yeah.
I wonder how good it is.
Well,
Panda does a decent desktop antivirus.
Yeah, they've always. Yeah,
but what's happened? I think to them is they're slowly sinking. It's Norton, McAfee, Kaspersky. If you're smart, you about Nod 32, and then Panda's kind of. For a long time, Panda was in that top tier, and then slowly sinking out of sight.
I think they've looked at the way the market's going and decided this is a way they can get their stuff out there. And,
smart.
You think about AVG, the way that company functions basically is they give away a free version, but there's an upsell. They have a suite, and I think that Panda will be trying to do the same thing.
So I guess, I don't know. It's really hard to test antiviruses. In fact, I would submit it's not doable. I mean, people like the Virus Bulletin do attempt to do it, but it's just very difficult because...
there's a big difference between stuff we have in a lab and what happens in real life.
Lab experience is not indicative.
There's all kinds of these.
And the antivirus guys, and they tune themselves for the lab as opposed to your real life. So, but I would really love to know if this is effective or not. I don't know how we would find that out.
I don't know. Well, by the way, it's not from Bob's AV company, so at least it's from a company. Yeah, we know they've been around for a while.
I love this.
I mean, a company like AVG, or Grysoft, I guess, the company that makes AVG. I mean, I've been using that product now for a while, but let's be honest here. Who are these guys? I mean, that's worked out pretty well. So
I think Avast and AVG go back and forth, but really their chief feature is not their ability, but their price.
Their freeity.
That's the most important.
Their priceability.
Their priceability is cheapy.
They have cheaposity.
That's it. Dude, you should have been in marketing. What are you wasting your time? Journalism thing is not going anywhere. There's no future in that. So, all right. Well, I'm going to give it a try. You go to cloudantivirus.com.
Yes, sir.
And I guess I really do want to kind of test it. But you're saying it doesn't slow your system down.
Well, unfortunately, what I did here was I installed the x64 version of Windows 7 everywhere. And I saw this the other day, or I think maybe even today or yesterday. Yeah. I can't run the thing, so I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this? And it occurred to me, I can run it in this virtual machine. A virtual machine is 32-bit, so here we go.
Oh, good. Yeah, in fact, that's really... So there isn't a... If you get Windows... I should have asked this a few hours ago. If you get Windows 7 64-bit, you'll get a 32-bit XP. They won't put a 64-bit.
Yeah,
XP.
I should have mentioned this as well. The virtual environment, the XP environment, actually any virtual environment, because Windows Virtual PC supports 32-bit clients only. So you can't run a 64-bit virtual machine, period. So the version of Windows XP that's included, of course, is 32-bit. That's the one that works with everything.
Right. And are they going to replace 32-bit mode with this? I mean, does that mean it's gone, or? Yeah,
well, there you go. I think that looking ahead,
seems like
sure, why not?
Seems like it, yeah.
Yep. That's I alluded to that when I was talking about Win32. I mean, if you can get rid of this, WoW environment, why not?
That's part of the benefit. Mm-hmm. Software of the week number 2.
Yeah, this is, again, just a new beta milestone for Firefox 3.5, formerly known as Firefox 3.1. So if you've been running the various betas, the new one is out. And this is just, again, the next version of Firefox. It has a private browsing mode now, like all the other browsers and so forth. By the way, if you are running Firefox, I discovered one of the things I really liked about Chrome is the minimalist nature of the user interface, right?
Minimality. It's really important.
It's got some good minimality.
Yeah.
And there's actually a really neat, what do you call it, like a skin or a theme for Firefox that looks like Chrome.
Oh,
and when you run Firefox without, the extra toolbars and everything, it looks really nice. And it's called, I didn't put this in the notes, I'm sorry, but it's called ChromaFox Basic.
Is it from Mozilla or is it?
No, well, you can get it on their site, on their add-on site. If you go to the addons.mozilla.org, I think it is. You can download this thing. But I actually make a point of installing this now. I just think it's a beautiful minimalist theme, and it also curbs any desire on my part to ever look at Chrome again. So it's it's a nice thing. I'll just throw that out as an aside, I guess.
That's like a tip/software.
Yeah, now that we're merging them into one thing.
And that really
like the Windows 7 taskbar. It's a multi-function. It's screwing up the podcast, really. I'll stop doing it.
Thank you. I wasn't going to say that, but
you're kind of a jerk.
I was thinking it. You're screwing up the show. No, that's it. Hey, that's great stuff. And always wonderful. My Kindle thanks you. I thank you. The vast listening audience thanks you, and we'll see you online at the Supersite for Windows, winsupersite.com. If you need a Paul fix during the rest of the week, that's where you can go. His blog has a lot of details about everything we talk about here. And also, of course, he's the news editor for Windows IT Pro, the author of Windows Vista Secrets from Wiley & Sons, and a hell of a nice guy. He's got nicety.
Nicety. Wow.
He's got all the itties, baby. We'll see. We'll see you next.
So do you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week on Windows Weekly.